What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is The Flash, Season 3, Episode 4, The New Rogues. So this one is kind of interesting as far as the rest of this season goes, like what they're setting up, the storylines they're bringing in. So first of all, let's just talk about the one thing that normally would really piss me off, but is done so well in the show that I actually kind of enjoy it. If you watch my other reviews of other shows, you know that one of the biggest problems I have in shows most of the time is whenever they do relationship stuff. Like, most TV shows do not do it well. You look at Arrow, the whole Oliver and Felicity thing just frustrates me to no end because of how terrible it's handled. Terribly it's handled. In Legends of Tomorrow, I thought the whole Ray and Kendra thing in the first season was forced. Supergirl, the entire first season was just all about her and Jimmy getting together. This is the one show of these four DC CW shows that's actually doing it well, and I think part of that is because the chemistry between pretty much everybody in the show is so good that even though Barry and Iris kind of don't really have much in common and don't really have a great reason to be together. Like most of the time when you see two people, there are certain things that they get interested in. There are certain things that make you think, yeah, I could see them together. With these two, the only thing that makes me think, yeah, these two should be together is whenever they actually are together. The conversations they have, the chemistry they share, it's just really good. And then on top of that, the chemistry between those two and Joe makes it even better because it feels like they're family. That's what it looks like to me. And even though it's a little bit weird that they're kind of adopted brother and sister, at the same time you believe that there is a connection there. And I mean, that last scene between those three where Barry's just like, I need to get my own place, and Joseph's like, oh, well, it's about time. Just, you're grown, you should already have your own place. That scene was just it was so well done. It felt so natural and it felt real to me. So that's the one thing that I think this show has above all the other shows on the CW. It just handles that stuff very well. On top of that, the episode in general is really good. You've got this new villain brought in, another guy affected by the whatever it's called. They haven't talked about it in so long, the explosion that happened. I can't remember what it's called anymore, but he was affected by it, and he's actually been trapped inside a mirror for however long. And so, he comes out, now he can throw people into mirrors, and his powers were not very well explained, but it's kind of interesting to see just how he utilizes it and stuff. And on top of that, you just have a lot of good dialogue about it. I mean, one of the things in the previews that made me crack up, and still in this episode made me laugh, is whenever Cisco's just like, and all of a sudden Harry's just like, mirror master. It's like, what the, it's just boom. It makes me laugh because once again the chemistry works, and the characters are so good and so funny to be around. I don't know why this show gets it right where Arrow just feels so off. It feels like they don't know what to do with their characters. It feels like they don't know how to handle their characters after 5 seasons. So it's very interesting to compare the two. But yeah, so they have the Mirror Master, and he's attacking. He was a part of Snart's game, and since Snart is gone, he decides, I'm just going to run this town. So he and his girlfriend, who I don't know why they didn't name her Vertigo. I guess because there was a guy in Arrow, I think, that was called Vertigo. Maybe they didn't want to cross. Anyway, they call her Top. Really? I mean, come on. But anyway, she can look at people and give them vertigo to where it feels like they're about to fall over. So Barry and Jesse go to stop them the first time. Of course, they fail. And then they learn how to get Barry out of the mirror, and then they go the second time, and now they have a plan. The general Flash formula that I think it does work, even though, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of some of the old cartoons, like Teen Titans, Danny Phantom, shows like that where it was your hero or heroes fighting against a villain. It felt like most of the time it was you fight them once, the villain beats them easily. That would seem to be the formula. It was fight, villain wins the first fight, fight again now that the hero's learned his lesson or their lesson, and then they stop the villain. That's kind of how the Flash feels at times. It feels like the first time the Flash fights, either the villain wins the first fight, and so now they have to come back and be like, okay, so how do we stop him? Or the other thing is, sometimes Barry will show up, manage to stop the villain, but then the villain manages to escape, and so now it's trying to track him down. So one of those two formulas, but most of them tend to work well. And so this one, same thing. But I really like one thing that kind of, I don't know, stuck out to me. The way they stopped him was just brilliant to me. Like, first, Barry gets him into these mirrors, a house of mirrors, pretty much, and he forces him out of a mirror by breaking several mirrors around him. So now he has to step out of this one. Barry then goes and gets several other mirrors and traps him in a loop of mirrors. So now he's constantly in a reflective surface. Because, like if you've got two mirrors back to back, you look that way, you see countless reflections of yourself going down. I love how the science behind that works. Like, because they didn't really explain his powers very well, but when I think about it like that, think about the reflective surface, the fact that that mirror is actually reflecting this mirror, it kind of makes sense that that would trap him. So I really like how that worked. I thought it was a very clever way to trap him, even though they didn't explain his powers very well. But yeah, love how it ended and the way they stopped him. The stuff going on with Cisco and Harry, they decide, Harrison does not want to stay on this Earth. He wants to go back to his original Earth. So he's like, why don't we find another Harrison Wells that can be a part of the team? So they send out a message. They find another Harrison Wells that is like him, because they found several, and some of them were kind of funny. One's talking like completely different language. One is like really, he sounds like a redneck. He's like, howdy y'all doing? I just happened to see y'all's message and thought that I could help y'all out. I mean, it was really funny to see him portraying these different characters. And then they find one that's kind of goofy. He seems a bit more playful. He comes out of the portal at the end. He's just like, greetings, Earthlings. She's like, I'm just kidding. I just always wanted to say Earthlings. It's just funny to me. So he seems like he's going to have a lot more jokes. I think he's going to fit in with this team a bit more. But at the same time, it's kind of like one of the great things about this Harrison Wells is he's a lot more serious. Although this season he's actually been a little bit more with the jokes. But I mean, one of the things that worked with the Harrison Wells from the first season, even though he was evil, was that the team was full of Cisco's constantly making jokes. Caitlin's a little bit more straight edge, but she still has funny moments. And then Barry, of course, is silly too. So to have a straight edge person as like kind of the leader, the mentor, the older mentor, it worked really well with the dynamics. So now to have this older mentor be just as goofy as the team, I don't know if that's going to work as well. We'll see how it goes. But from what I saw so far, he seems really funny as this new character. It's funny because I'm saying this, it's the same actor, just he's playing a different version of himself. So I'll be interested to see how that's going to work out. But we'll see. And then on top of that, you've also got the stuff with Caitlin getting more, I guess, noticeable. First she uses her powers to freeze the mirror that Barry's in because they didn't have enough power to freeze it completely. And so, of course, they're like, well, how did it work? I don't know, but we'll focus on that later. They don't really focus on it later. Harrison just says it wasn't working. I don't know how that happened. You figure it out. And then she gets back to her place, and as she's taking a shower, the shower freezes, and then she gets out and she notices she has a long strand of little clump of white hair, which is kind of disappointing because I like red hair. I don't know why. Red hair just gets me. So it's interesting to see kind of where that's going. I don't know. The one thing that makes this confusing is that in the original timeline, they went to Earth 2, and the Caitlin Snow there was Killer Frost. And so they came back and told her about it, and, Cisco was worried that she was going to become her, and she's like, I'm not. And so it was kind of, we knew about it. So in this one, she actually did get the powers, where she didn't in the first timeline. So it's kind of like, does that mean that that conversation never happened? And the other question I have is, how come she's just now starting to exhibit more of her powers? Like, has she really kept them hidden for this long? I don't know. I'm kind of confused. I hope this maybe gets explained a bit more, but for now, it's interesting. I like where it's going. There's certain storylines that really pique my interest, and some that I'm still interested in, just not as much as others. So yeah, it's a great season so far. So far, it's my favorite of the 4 shows on the CW. So I'm looking forward to the next episode. Hopefully you guys are too. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What you like and dislike about this episode. Let me know. We can discuss, talk about it, all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Flash reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.